Game 5, Ben Simmons fakes out Marcus Smart, throwing down the big dunk.
He can make that shot, CC. That one's not a problem for him whatsoever. I don't know what happened to the defense here. Not great communication on the switch. And a little super highway to the rim.
Yeah, that's about as close. Yeah, that's about as close you can get to the rim.
That's his range.
Outside of that, he'll miss it.
Same game, same guy. This time Ben Simmons gets the spinning 360 in traffic somehow.
Did I watch this game? Did he score 50 or something?
Well, no, but the Celtics didn't have a lot of highlight plays, a lot of efficient plays.
They haven't.
But, not a lot of fantastic wow plays. That was kind of the story of the series.
Yes.
Philly had, remember the last game, Embiid had the 2 monster dunks, but they lost.
The impressive thing about that one, he shot it right-handed, and he's a left-handed player.
All right, sticking with this game because it was the only one last night. Smart to Tatum for the alley-oop in transition.
Tatum's jump shot, we didn't know it was there. We didn't know he was going to be as athletic. You can see a little bit of that at Duke, but we didn't see what we saw in his game. That, yes, he can play above the rim.
And that was a perfect pass by Marcus Smart. I'm not sure it was intentional or not, but it was perfect. Oh, no.
All right, Jayson Tatum getting it done again. This time dropping Robert Covington, hitting the step-back jumper.
Robert Covington was brutal for them this series. Absolutely brutal for them all series long. Jayson Tatum, oh no, that's legit broken ankles. No tripping, no stepped on a shoe, wet spot. No, you just got broke down, man. Go get it, Tatum.
All right, moving on. All the talk with the Dallas Cowboys this offseason has been the players they don't have, right? 3-time Pro Bowl wideout Des Bryant, released. 11-time Pro Bowl tight end Jason Witten, retired. Someone for Dak Prescott to throw the ball to, not signed yet. But how about the players they do have? Well, that's Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke took the league by storm 2 seasons ago, but was suspended for 6 games last year. Jerry Jones thinks the lack of distractions will actually help.
I think that not having to address that mentally and physically, not having to think about not only the interruption of the actual potential suspension and then suspension, but just the physical interruption of the physical aspect of that. So, yes, I think that I give him a big error as to what his performance might be without the overhang of the issue that he faced last year.
We spend so much time talking about Dez and Witten, so let's focus on Ezekiel Elliott now, because a lot of that offense is going to run through him. How great does he have to be for the Cowboys to be successful, CC?
Oh, he's a great player. He's a great player. And Jerry Jones makes some good points as far as Zeke, what he's been through the last year and a half. We've been talking about Zeke since he came into the league as if he's been in the league 5 or 6 years. But Zeke's 22 years old, turns 23 this summer, and he's one of the best players in the league. He's the best player on the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so it's important for him to have a spectacular season. And the way the team is built with having a great offensive line, no, they need Zeke to play like an NFL quarterback would play. We have a saying around the league that a good quarterback wins you about 4 to 6 games. The great quarterbacks, they win you about 8 games a year, just having them under center. When you have a great tailback like Zeke, he can tip that scale. He can win you 4 to 6 games. He's that kind of good. Also, I believe that they might be able to give him spelling just a little break. A sleeper pick. Dallas drafted Bo Scarborough in the 7th round out of Alabama. Now, he's a tremendous athlete, runs downhill, and I believe with Dallas's style, that offensive line, these 2 running backs, I believe Zeke runs for 1,500 yards this year. I expect Zeke to have a spectacular year, and he is beyond the investigation. He's beyond the burden. He's been in the league now a couple years. I expect to see the best Zeke that we've seen on the football field.
Listen, they need him to be exactly that, see. When we list the quarterbacks in the NFC and where Dak is in that hierarchy, when we list the teams in the NFC and where the Cowboys are in that hierarchy, when we list the wide receivers and tight ends, skill position guys in the NFC and where the Cowboys fall in that hierarchy, they need, if they are going to be a double-digit win team, if they are going to compete for the playoffs, Ezekiel Elliott, in my eyes, needs to be in the MVP discussion, similar to how Todd Gurley was last year. When he had 1,631 yards, almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage his rookie season, and that was without playing in Week 17, and that was with being ineffective in Week 1. So that is really 14 weeks of high-level production and 16 touchdowns in that stretch. That's the type of season he needs to have, maybe even a little bit better. If Zeke Elliott has 1,400 yards rushing, I don't know if the Cowboys can find their way to 10 wins, because I don't know where they're going to get the other requisite offense needed. Like, 1,400 yards would lead the NFL in rushing. I think the burden on him is greater than the burden on any running back in the NFL as far as what their team needs from him specifically to have a chance to compete.
But here's a question, and maybe this is obvious, and if we're talking about the fact that the brunt of the Cowboys' offense is going to go through Ezekiel Elliott, and you're saying 1,400 might not even be enough, don't all the other teams know that too? Don't they just come out and game plan against him because they know Dak doesn't really have anyone to throw the ball to, and is that going to hamper him?
Most of the teams in the NFL, they know what you're going to do, but the great teams, you still can't stop them. It's not as if you're going to design 5 or 6 plays, you're going to trick them. They're going to be like, wow, we didn't see that coming. The good teams, you know exactly what they're going to do. The teams that come good, the great is they come up with a few little wrinkles off of this. Now, how do they involve Tavon Austin in this offense? Even though they could fake the Zeke up the middle, they can run a lot of RPOs. Yes, this is what Dallas is going to do, but their offensive line, they got 3 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line, and Zeke, there's nothing you can do about it. They can run the football, and they run the football as good as anyone we've seen in the NFL the last 10 years.
And what defines greatness in sports, but in professional football particularly, is when the other team knows exactly what you're going to do, and they still can't stop you. It's one of your favorite stories that I've relayed is Larry Allen, that Larry Allen famously, on certain running plays, would make the sound of a train, like a train's whistle, walking to the line of scrimmage, the All-Pro Hall of Fame guard for the Dallas Cowboys, letting the defense know, they are running behind me. You can't stop it. I am better than you. I am better than who you're going to put out in front of me. They need Zeke. The other team is going to say, we can't let Zeke beat us. And Zeke and that offensive line have to go beat them. The stat that you love so much, 1,100 yards from 1,120 rushing yards on first down his rookie season. That's what they've got to get back to. 2nd and 4s, 2nd and 3s, where no matter how limited your skill position guys are, the defense is at such a disadvantage.
Yeah, I don't think people understand the totality and the physical damage the running game does to a defense and how we have seen. If you have a good running game, it's amazing how much better your defense gets because it doesn't have to play on the field as long. And if this can be a running team that can score early, that's what happens when Dallas runs the ball. It really helps out their defense, which is a little undersized, and then they get after the quarterback, help create turnovers.
It's a lot of pressure to put on both Zeke and Dak. You're asking these 2 guys in their 3rd year. We need both of you to go out and be the saviors for this team.
Well, I think Zeke can remove some of the pressure from Dak by playing at the level that I'm talking about. I also think for Zeke, he does have, to a degree, something to prove in a different way than he has at any point in his short NFL career. When you're a top 5 pick as a running back, it's hard to say you were overlooked or underrated. When you immediately come onto the scene and you are the best running back in football your rookie season, it's hard to say you're underappreciated or underrated. But last year, when all of a sudden, oh, look at Todd Gurley. Look at what Alvin Kamara did. Look at these other players across the league while you're dealing with a suspension, while you're dealing with not participating in the postseason. Now, all of a sudden, Zeke, for the first time, I would imagine, since he first got to Ohio State, has something to prove again. I don't know how much that actually incentivizes a player, but I don't think that can be a bad thing. I can't find the Cowboys offense otherwise. I can't find the points. I can't find the yards they're going to need to compete in what is, to me, the far tougher of the conference.
Yeah, also, I think I have more confidence in Allen Hurns as a wide receiver and what he can do and how he can replace some of what they lost with Witten and some of what they lost with Dez Bryant. I have confidence that he still can be he's still a young player, that he can be a very good receiver.
All right, we'll take a break. What did the Celtics win over the Sixers prove about Kyrie Irving? That's next on First Things First.